We are back after an incredible live stream last night. Really appreciate everybody stopping by. The numbers were fantastic. And as always, without you guys, there is no us. But David, the morning after, it actually
seems like we were just here.
Yeah, we were.
Never left.
Like an hour and 15 minutes.
Y'all tell me, was it a dream?
No, it wasn't.
Like, is today game day?
No.
And I just
isn't it all a dream, Dave?
Well, it's Monday. Today's Monday.
Isn't it all a dream?
You're in your Matrix bag right now, aren't you?
It's Inception. I mean, it's a simulation. Dave.
What a night, man. I wouldn't have wanted to be anywhere else.
That was great.
Watching
Perfect
the game.
Cigars, wings.
I still can't believe it happened, man.
Yeah.
It did.
And some people were in that show for 4.5 straight hours, man.
They were there grinding it out. And listen,
Like,
we can be upset about playing it on a Monday, and I'm upset about it. I don't know why I live in a country that's free, quote unquote, yet we play our national championship games on Monday night. Like, whose rich son's idea was that?
name us commissioner and let's get some solutions.
We can get it. I can get it handled. Give me an hour and a half. I know to call. Jim Harbaugh and Michigan win the 2024 national championship. Quinshon Judkins commits to Ohio State. Tim Brando is going to join us to talk about it. And Tiger Woods ends his 27-year partnership with Nike. That's right. He just did it. I'm Jay Crain, and welcome to Crain & Company. Now, typically at this point of the show, I regale you with an epic monologue that sets up your day, gives you hope, happiness, friendship, all those good feelings. But today's a special day after Michigan won the national championship last night. So I'm going to kick it over to my Nephilim friend, the 6'7" former Michigan quarterback, David Cohn. David, talk your ish.
That's a lot to live up to.
All
that you welcome people into every day. But I'll do my best. I'm asked often why I chose to play football at Michigan. The short answer is because they gave me a shot. And every day since I set foot in Ann Arbor, I have been proud to be a part of this brotherhood. It feels like I speak for many when I say Michigan ever winning another championship on the national stage began to feel unattainable. One, because the Southeastern Conference has been the dominant force in this sport for more than a decade. Two, the Buckeyes proved to be the gold standard in our own conference for more than a decade. And then the 2024 season happened. Now I want to speak directly to the players, the coaches, and staff members inside of Schembechler Hall, many of whom I played with and played for. This is your achievement. You've made a lot of people proud along the way, but you did this. You just won the first national championship in the history of Michigan football. Why do I say that? Because every title up to this point was claimed or it was awarded by the media, by the coaches. Not this time. This was won. People asked all season, who has Michigan beaten? The answer is everyone. You beat your rival. You won your conference. You went toe-to-toe with the greatest coach in college football history, Nick Saban, and you came out on top. Then you finished by holding the most prolific offense in the country to 13 points. Jim Harbaugh, this championship is on you. All because when things got tough in 2020, you pointed at yourself and said, this isn't good enough. We haven't been good enough, but we will be. Now, whatever happens to this group in the days and weeks to come, just know we all can't wait to see what y'all accomplish next. Some of you will play professionally. Some will start businesses and become husbands and fathers. Whatever you do, use this moment as a stepping stone for further achievement in life, and take pride in the fact that you men in that locker room are now responsible for the greatest season in the history of Michigan football. Go Blue.
That's real.
Yeah, Dave.
That's real. Son.
I believe that.
That's real. No,
a lot of us
that's
got
from the heart.
close.
You can't make that stuff up.
We're all standing on the shoulders of who came before us.
For
right?
sure.
But still.
And I do want to make sure, too, to tell the Washington fans out there, the players and everybody associated with the Huskies program, be upset. Lay down, bleed a while. It's tough. You don't know when you're going to get back to this stage. You don't know if you're ever going to get back to this stage. But those young men have nothing to be ashamed of. Michael Penix Jr. did not have his best game last night, but he has nothing to be ashamed of. What they accomplished, getting to where they got to have a chance to elevate Washington to another national championship, the first one since 1991. While you didn't win it, and you wanted to win it, you don't play this game to lose. You don't put in all this work to finish second. And I get that, especially with the veterans they had on this team, with the way they played all year. But the brand of Washington and what Kalen DeBoer showing you that not only can Washington get there, but they can now win a game when they got there. This isn't when Washington went to the playoff earlier and Bama just poom-pah slammed them for 4 quarters and laughed their way through it. This was a dogfight. And I think it showed you the type of team and the type of culture and the type of young men that Kalen DeBoer is cultivating, that early, when it looked like it was going to snowball, and Michigan was lining up and ramming it down your throat. Donovan Edwards was making one guy miss, then looked like the fastest person on the planet. You were able to regroup, and you stayed in the fight, and especially that Washington defense. Hats off to you guys. I know at the end it kind of unraveled a little bit there in the last 2 possessions, but Washington's defense kept them in that game. I think they showed a ton of intestinal fortitude, and Washington is not done. Kalen DeBoer is not done. It's only just beginning, and I'm excited to see where they go from here. So I want to make sure that we let the Washington fans know out there. Be upset. Like I said, lay down, bleed a while, but you have nothing. You should have nothing but pride this morning when you look at the way that those guys went out there and they competed, the way they competed all year. And now we go to the Big Ten. We get to see these 2 teams in the same conference now.
Washington will benefit greatly from this.
Oh, without a doubt. And you got Oregon coming in, and USC and UCLA. It's a new era of college football, but I'm happy with the way that it ended, and I think it was fun to not see a team from the SEC in the national championship. Like I said, that's why I called it zero sugar. Sometimes it's better to mix it up. And now we go to the 12 team, so who the hell knows, Blaine?
Yeah. Well, I'm just glad, in my opinion, the best teams made it. I mean, and when you look at this game, especially at the end, there's 2 sides to every football game, right? You'll see guys dancing in confetti, and you give Michigan all their flowers. They deserved it. There's also guys on the sidelines who are broken, who watch that confetti come down, especially younger classmen. All right, and that's something you build going into the next year, and that's what you build leadership on. But one thing I kind of think of when it comes to Michigan, I think of Michi Walker, who died of cancer in December in 2022. How much he meant not only to this football team, not only for the staff, but just the Michigan fans, and how much just football in general means to so many people, and how it can bring so many guys together. And it's just a beautiful story, and you go look for it. But, man, I know y'all did that for them. You did it for fans. But I know for damn sure y'all did it for Michi Walker, too.
And it was good to see his name trending yesterday, too.
Yeah.
Another thing on your point with talking about no SEC team in the championship. So it's interesting. So the Big Ten won the first and the last college football playoff. And then the SEC and Clemson pretty much won everything in the middle. And what I said was, yes, it was good for college football. I agreed with your point the other day. It was good for college football. For the SEC, not just to not have a team in the championship, but for the teams that were in it to deserve to be there, and both of them weren't SEC teams. But it's also been good for college football, for the SEC to be as dominant as they have been, because Michigan had to build their program this way. Washington had to go spend the amount of money. And one thing with Jim Harbaugh is it's really fun to see not only a national championship team, not only a perfect season, 15-0, but to do it in this way, to do it in a way that I think garnered a lot of respect from people around the country, especially people in the South, especially Southeastern Conference fans, when they look at that game and they watch them line up against Alabama, not only in the front 7 on defense, but what they did up front and in the run game on offense, to say, wow, those boys are really about the physicality on both sides of the football. And that's not anything new. That's how Michigan played when I was there, and that's how Michigan played when Jim Harbaugh was under Bo Schembechler. There's a reason he wanted to bring back that mentality. Who knows what the future holds, man? I don't know if he's going to be an NFL coach. I don't know if he decides to remain in Ann Arbor, but either way, this was a big one for that program.
Yeah, and look, we're going to talk about Jim Harbaugh. Will he return? J.J. McCarthy, will he return? And all that jazz. David, when you look at that game and the season from Michigan, we always talk about balanced teams, complete teams. I think Michigan was a complete team. A lot of the bugaboos of teams that have run into the Alabamas and the Georgias have been the physicality up front. But when you've had those few teams that could match the physicality up front, and it was even somewhat, on the outside was where Georgia and Alabama and these teams would take advantage of you because they were complete teams. Michigan was a complete team. When they weren't able to get to Alabama the other night, and there was one-on-one man coverage on the outside, Michigan won those battles. You wouldn't be able to win the physical, up front in the trenches battle and then the outside skill position battles, right, in the past against an Alabama or something like that, until we saw this Michigan team be able to do it, right? And I think Washington was close to a complete team. Michigan was more of a complete team, though. And when it came down to it, Michigan's strong hand was defense, Washington's strong hand was offense, and one of them showed up and balled out in that game. And there were some flashes for Penix Jr. in the offense, but I wasn't surprised by either game plan. I thought both game plans were great going into it, to be honest with you. I thought the coaches put the players in a position to win the game. The difference was Washington didn't take advantage of mistakes. The few times they got it from Michigan, in a game that comes down to 3 to 5 plays, you have to do that. And every time Washington would garner some momentum or start to get something going, you would have a pre-snap penalty. You would have a holding call on a big play. They would do something that would push them back. And every time they got to the edge of making this thing really weird with Michigan, getting it back to one score, Michigan was able to answer. And it wasn't just in the form of 3 turnovers. It was in the form of tackling in space. It was in the form of being able to get Michael Penix Jr., who's a jump shooter at quarterback, off of his spot. It was a bunch of little things that added up to big things. And I always say most teams lose games. They don't win them. I think this was a little bit of both. So you give a ton of credit to Michigan. It was a hell of a season. We're going to keep talking about it. We want to know what you think. But first, I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Raycon. All right. I know whether I'm running, at the gym, in the neighborhood, this is the best pair of earbuds that there is for the best price. I'm just telling you right now. The new year's here, and whether you're making big changes or just settling back in a consistent routine, chances are you can use some audio accompaniment on your journey. I know for me it's crucial. It's when I get my run on. All right, when I get my strut on. The fact is, a good pair of wireless earbuds is indispensable for 2024, and for premium audio at the perfect price point, you got to go with the Raycon. Now, you've heard us talk about it before, and we all use it. It's a fantastic product. There's nothing like the feeling when you put those headphones on, you start listening to your favorite song. Maybe it's the Lady Ballers track. I don't know. All right, I listen to a little bit of everything, true crime, music, all that stuff. And everyday earbuds, the Raycons, they look, they feel, and they sound better than ever. They have optimized gel tips. They feel great in your ear. They're comfortable, and they won't budge. And they give you 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery life. I'm telling you guys right now, don't fall for the stuff you see on TV. Raycon is the move. Go to buyraycon.com. That's BUYRAYCON.com/booster today to get 15% off your Raycon order, plus free shipping. It's a heck of a deal. That's buyraycon.com/booster to score 15% off and free shipping. Again, that's buyraycon.com/booster. Raycon, it's about time you hear about it. And speaking about hearing about it, we got some merch out, new hoodies. I'm going to throw the link in the chat. If you love us, you're in the trust tree, Friendship Forever. Shout out to everybody on TikTok, too. We're live there. Rumble, YouTube, Daily Wire, everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Go buy some merch. It really helps out. We got candles, all type of stuff. Lady Ballers merch in there as well, as I mentioned. But let's get to the Booster Club.
Chat. What is up? Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you donate, it will get read. We're going to start off with Hosa Taco.
Yeah.
McCarthy said last night that this will be the last time that he played with his teammates on an interview. Is that a slip up, or could it be a real thing?
No one can fault J.J. McCarthy.
Well, no one can fault him either way, but I feel like these guys at Michigan can be a little cryptic. Some guys that are graduating.
There are.
Technically, he's not wrong. So knowing the way Michigan operates and that Jim Harbaugh's their head coach, I'm not going to look in. People say, oh, Jim Harbaugh may have slipped up and said he was coming back last night by saying he's pushing spring practice back a month. From Valentine's Day, he wants better weather in Ann Arbor. So people say, oh, that's him coming back. I'm telling you right now, I don't think any decision's been made, but I think there is some merit in some cases to riding off in the sunset. Yep. But to me, that's at the end, right? Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Here we go. Or The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. Let's aim for the bushes. That's at the end. J.J. McCarthy's still got a chance to play in the NFL, but I really feel like not only with the depth of the quarterback class, but with where his game's at, because you see flashes of it, right? You saw flashes last night. That throw he made early, where he layered it through that missile that he actually layered in, then a couple of those other throws. Then you see some, you're like, oh my God, it looks like he's far away. I think he could benefit from another year. And you look at the class next year from a quarterback standpoint, it's going to be good, but it's not going to be this generational depth that we see in this quarterback class. So I wouldn't read too much into any hoopla right after the game. A lot of guys say a lot of things.
I'll be interested to see what's more important to J.J. McCarthy, like going out on top, right? Playing with Jim Harbaugh, if he were to lead, like basing his decision off of that, or like being told what his projection is, right? Like how does that puzzle all work itself out? Like if they come and say, JJ, look, I know a lot of people talked about top 10 pick, but you're projected as a 4th round selection.
Well, yeah. Last night, I don't think Michael Penix Jr. did anything to improve his draft stock. I don't think it's going to fall as much as some people think. I don't think J.J. McCarthy really did anything where NFL scouts like, got to take him.
No.
Got to take him. Now, and again, I didn't think J.J. played bad. I didn't think he played good against Alabama. Thought he made the throws he had to make. But nothing last night screamed, we got to take J.J. McCarthy in the top 10.
Especially when you're already having to overcome a size thing. Like when you draft Josh Allen or when you draft Justin Herbert, whatever's not polished in the accuracy, element, you make up for with size because you're getting beat up and banged up every single Sunday. With J.J. McCarthy being, 205, something like that, he's already going to have to put on weight, and you want to improve a little bit of accuracy and some things like that. So, I don't know, I think he would greatly benefit from another season, but he's an important piece, but he's just one piece. I'd like to know what's the mindset of everyone else that's an underclassman or that's draftable on the team. Is this a thing where, hey, we finally got over that hump, let's go to the NFL right out on top? Or I saw Georgia win the national championship, send a couple guys to the Eagles. The bulk of the class came back and said, no, we want to run it back again. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Let's go to G. Hurd. He wants to know how much of the Michigan offense is returning next
I have
year.
the depth chart pulled up here. I mean, a good bit, but like every year, guys leave. This is what Jake was talking about when he was talking about the physicality is not only a mindset you embrace, but it's about the recruiting classes you stack on top of each other. Nick Saban and Kirby Smart have had success because they stack classes and reload so quickly.
Well, and you can see a lot of people are visual learners. You bring in unbelievably talented players that are physically gifted that want to, and then they learn from the guys ahead of them how it's supposed to go, how you're supposed to practice, how you're supposed to prepare, the level of physicality that you must achieve to be able to compete at this highest level. And if you're a young guy on Michigan, you have now, just like the young guys at Georgia, just like the young guys at Bama, you've seen the way paved before. You understand how to walk down the path. Now it's your turn to be able to walk down the path. But once you see something, right, you can achieve it. You give me a recipe, that's one thing. I see you bake it, and how you make it, that's a totally different thing. And that's something that can keep providing, and you hope to not only stack class on class from a physical and talent standpoint, but stack class on class from a mental standpoint, understanding how to go about it, understand how to go play on the road, understand how to get yourself ready to compete at the highest level and not let the moment overwhelm you or not hit the panic button when everything's not going right. I think that is one of the biggest attributes that young guys gain from watching championships teams, and it's obvious, but it's so true as you learn how to do it, and once you learn how to do it, you can replicate it.
Here's an interesting dynamic for Michigan next season. Most of the offense are seniors. Almost all the offensive line. Cornelius Johnson at wide receiver was a senior who came back. Roman Wilson, who got to wear number 1, senior. Blake Corum, senior, who came back.
How much that offensive line's coming back?
Not much. Yeah. Not much. They all look like seniors, graduate transfers too, and plus Zach Zenner was out. He's another one. On the defensive side, a lot of underclassmen, but they're projected higher draft picks.
I'm telling you, Michigan's here to stay. Like this isn't a flash in the pan. So they've been hanging around. You've made the last 3 college football playoffs.
Yeah. Let's go to Ohio versus Trains, the long age battle. So didn't watch a second of the game last night as an Ohio State fan. I couldn't bear it, but I'll give you your kudos. Congrats to
Understandable.
You.
I get that. Understandable.
Cone.
I get that.
All right, let's go to Jack Nods 5524. Said Harbaugh did a great job and his team was awesome, but God, that dude is so irritating. He made a point to be the king of the DEI, at least verbally. Doesn't it feel like he's so self-righteous?
I just think Jim Harbaugh is quirky, man. I just think he's different. Some people like different. They think it's funny. Some people, don't like different. They think it's arrogant or something. I just think Jim Harbaugh is uniquely Jim Harbaugh. I mean, you can say a lot of things, but he is himself.
Then situations like having Colin Kaepernick throw at Michigan spring practice at halftime. But then again, you look at that and you're like, well, he's the guy with the 49ers who drafted him and helped develop him into a Super Bowl appearance quarterback. He loves his guys. That's that much you can always say about Jim Harbaugh.
Without a doubt.
That guy loves the guys who play for him, who coach with him. He loves his family. That's all I would really need to know about a guy, despite whatever the other eccentricities.
I'd say pro-life isn't just for baby's in the womb. I mean, it's
Is it not?
It's for life.
It's for all of us.
He loves people.
Yeah,
I really think
true.
Jim Harbaugh loves, and if you sacrifice for him, he's going to sacrifice to you. And I think he's loyal, even to a fault, but that's an attribute that I'll take.
Quirky or not, I'll tell you what, he's good for college football. And the same is true for guys like Mike Leach. Like, don't run Mike Leach when Mike Leach was still alive. Lane Kiffin, Deion Sanders, a lot of these guys with big personalities. Like, the college football game needs that much more than the NFL does.
I agree.
I was going to Dr. Detroit. What's going on, brother? You said Michigan out the SEC with a solid O-line and D-line play, and Washington had to learn the hard way.
I mean, yeah, it's, again, football is football. I mean, it's a game that's won and lost up front. And then you add on the icing, which is the periphery around it. But yeah, they were a complete team. I mean, I don't think complete teams are just for the SEC, but that's been the SEC model. We're just going to be better than you in the most important spot. And that's what it's been. But Michigan found a way to usurp that.
All right, let's go to Sonder. He says Michigan controlled every aspect of this football game. Remember, Georgia was down 2 scores on Alabama at one point and lost. Guessing referring to, well, Georgia should have been in the college football playoff.
I think you can make a great argument that Georgia's one of the 4 best teams. I thought if you're going to keep Florida State out, you got to put Georgia in, right? If you're going to go by that methodology. But yeah, look, again, I'm excited for the 12-team playoff. I hope that this is the new norm where we have 6 to 7, possibly 8 teams that have a chance to win it, and that we're going to increase parity with the 12-team playoff. But we'll see.
I was going to Steve Action Figure Frenzy with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, Steve. Says congratulations, David Cohn. Now, Michigan can finally go lose to Ohio State.
Yeah, you guys did it. Congrats. Doesn't matter if you win anymore.
No, it's kind of like, what does Jake say? We've sippeth from the cup.
Yeah. Sippeth from the cup.
You know what's better than 1?
Yeah.
2.
It's like I say, you give me that filet mignon.
Crawfish.
I don't want any more of that lame-ass steak. Whatever. I want that good ranchers, that good. That's what I want.
Somebody tweeted last night, they said, after the win, they're like, man, Twitter's about to be unbearable for a month.
Oh, see, that's why people try, I get it, but we're so used to this as Auburn fans. You think Twitter's bad for a month? A month? I watched Alabama win 5 national championships in the
Well, Auburn Twitter's the worst.
Twitter was bad every day.
Hey, but y'all got not only that natty and perfect season, but the Heisman and the -- 1 pick.
I mean,
y'all lived through that.
Yeah.
I mean, the real travesty that happened last night was, it's pretty obvious. I mean, why am I not watching a trailer for the new NCAA football?
What is the update with that?
Apparently,
here's the update. I'm pissed, David. That's the update.
Apparently, it was never true.
Here's the update.
It was never supposed to happen.
They lied?
Well, did EA Sports
YouTuber, I don't know who it was, but a YouTuber started it, and it caught like wildfire.
Never trust him again.
And apparently, a trailer was supposed to get dropped during the game. You want to talk about hoax?
Well, if some random YouTuber said that it was supposed to get dropped and they didn't drop it, I'm not that mad at EA Sports. But I did get my hopes up, and I was excited. And even though we were talking during the commercial breaks, I was hoping maybe, just maybe, I would see the trailer. I just can't wait, to be 83 years old and playing the new NCAA game when it finally comes out.
Yeah.
Y'all are going to piss me off the longer y'all drag. Figure it out.
Let's go to Kane Gomez. What's up, Kane? Says, if you think Penix is a top 3 QB out of this draft, hate to break it to you, but you do not know football.
Oh, really? Explain to me why. Explain to me why. Because he didn't have a great national championship game. They had the best offense in the country all year. People who don't know ball, people that watch one game and then just make a decision on something. God, I'm glad that people don't treat you like that. I'm glad they don't go to your job and every time you screw up, say how bad you are or whatever when you deliver more times than not. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Michael Penix didn't have a great game last night, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think Washington's offensive line had a very good game last night. I think they struggled a lot, pre-snap motion or pre-snap movement. You saw a lot of false starts. You saw a lot of holding. I mean, 73 held more than a Swiss bank account, with illegal funds in it. At some point, yeah, Michael Penix didn't play great. Michigan kept the top on, but he did make some of the throws, right? He did make some of the plays. So, again, if you're going to sit here and say Michael Penix is now a bad player, you don't know ball, and don't pretend like you know ball.
I still feel like more teams will pass on him because of the prior injuries rather than last night.
Yeah, scouts know this because he'll go to the Senior Bowl, he'll spin it well, he'll get rave reviews on there. It's, again, if you're going to take one game against the best defense in college football, when they kept the top on it, you still made a couple plays, but you weren't able to cash in the end. I mean, tough crowd, man. God, I wonder what you do for a living.
All right, he's got a broken devil dog. He says, is this Michigan's best team ever is the question. LSU fans need reading comprehension skills. Where are these LSU fans coming from being salty? A lot of people are comparing this Michigan team. Who could they beat? The LSU team, the Georgia team. A lot of salty fans coming out of the woodworks.
It's just, the fact that they're in the conversation is all I ever needed.
It's all hypothetical now.
It's all hypothetical.
It's all hypothetical.
Throw them up there. Who
falls
cares?
on party lines. Depends on who you root for. All right, let's move on. Let's get to rapid fire.
Rapid fire. All right.
Make sure if you donate, we're going to read your chat.
Even when Michigan wins, the Buckeyes win because Quinshon Judkins, Ole Miss running back, has committed to play for the Buckeyes. Look, it's a huge pickup. You know, we were talking about not a huge loss for Ole Miss, just the way some of the things worked out. But what do you make of this moving forward? He's going to play in Columbus.
Well, you get a heck of a player, and regardless of what you think about how it went down at the end with Quinshon Judkins and Ole Miss, you know he's a really good back, and you pair him with Will Howard. I mean, those are two guys that can really present a problem in the run game for you. Like I said, I'm very interested to see with Will Howard now going to Ohio State if there's any evolution in what Ohio State does offensively. Not that they've struggled on offense or anything like that, but with a quarterback that can provide you the running skill set that Will Howard has, not that he's a bad passer, he's a good passer, but it's his balance and dual threat ability at the quarterback position that I think is his biggest strength. Will there be some sort of evolution in the Ryan Day and Ohio State offense? But where I'm interested with Ohio State is how many of these guys on defense are going to return. Look at Denzel Burke said, hey, I'm not going to the NFL yet. Like that rumor was wrong, this, that, and the other. That's what I want to see. Because for Ohio State moving forward, we've seen them have very explosive offenses, right? We've seen them now be kind of more heavy on the defensive side this past year. They've got to be able to put it all together. But you added a big-time piece in Quinshon Judkins. But I do want to say, I don't think that the sky's on fire for Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's better for guys to move on in certain situations. I think from what I've heard, I don't think Quinshon Judkins made the best decision, right, from a business standpoint and what's going on at Ole Miss and what Ole Miss can possibly do next year. Not that Ohio State won't be in it, but Ole Miss, you're having a chance to have a generational season next year in Oxford with what they have coming back, with what they've added to the transfer portal, with the way they've developed the high school players and how they are up front. So, yeah, good for the Buckeyes. They're going to be good. It's
How about
Ohio
the Buckeyes on defense? Jack Sawyer's coming back for his senior year at linebacker. I mean, Quinshon Judkins, we talked about how unbelievable he's been over his first 2 years. I think he's the first player since Herschel Walker to rush
pretty good.
15 touchdowns in his freshman and sophomore year. But running back wasn't necessarily the problem in Columbus.
No, I mean, I thought if anything, it was the offensive line. I don't think the offensive line, I'm usually used to really good offensive line play when we talk about Ohio State, and I don't think they played great this year. I think you kind of saw that with Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord's still developing. There's a reason he's going to Syracuse right now. I think Ohio State had Will Howard in the works already. But this is a good get for them because he's a three-down back and he's an NFL running back. Mm-hmm. And you see what they're losing already at the running back position. That's a guy, you don't have to worry about that position anymore. Mm-hmm. It's over with. It's over. So you get your quarterback and your running back figured out. Ohio State will always have receivers. I don't care who you ask. They always have guys. They got the number one kid coming out who's going to play as a freshman, who's an absolute dog. So I'm not worried about Ohio State. Great get for Ohio State. But the running back position now, it just means a lot less than what it used to.
Well, I do want to say, too, Ohio State did have a brand-new center and 2 tackles. Mm-hmm. So those guys are going to get better up front. It's just that's a place that takes experience. You see what happens when you have experienced offensive line that you saw last night in Michigan and in Washington, even though I don't think they performed very well.
Before we get to the NFL, one thing here, the 27-year partnership between Tiger Woods and Nike came to an end yesterday. I mean, he made over $500,000 over the course of this 27 years and created billions.
Over $500,000?
Over $500 million for Nike. I just, maybe it's just because I grew up in this time, but, short of the Jordan brand with Michael Jordan, this has to be one of the most iconic partnerships.
I thought maybe this could just last forever. Yeah. I thought this partnership may just last forever because I think of Nike and I think of Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan. Now, you can think whatever you want about what Nike does business practice-wise. There's some things I don't agree with. But Tiger Woods and Nike just goes together like peanut butter and jelly. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just such a great fit. It's truly an end of an era. You see that Tiger said he's going to play in, I don't think it's a charity tournament. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Our guy Cercio knows. I know he's going to play in that tournament. But, it's looking like Tiger's probably not going to catch Jack Nicklaus. but watching this kind of detachment, man, it's just it's weird because I grew up with this. This was the era that I grew up in, the Tiger Woods, ball hanging on the end of the cup with
that's
the Nike
this clip
symbol.
here. This
Let's go and play it.
The chip in 15. This is 16.
Guys,
This is the most iconic shot I can remember in golf. This one right
Here
here.
it comes. Oh, my goodness.
Perfect. With the logo. Couldn't have done it any better.
Like, that's
Bang.
a movie. That's a movie for your commercial.
He went Bagger Vance.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, that's a great
A lot of people were talking about like Roger Federer at the end of his career, like not re-signing like a $10 million a year deal with Nike and instead going with Uniqlo for $300 million and then another equity deal with On Cloud Shoes, which has grossed him over like $600 million at this point. So yeah, I'm sure Tiger Woods, rather than extending the Nike partnership, is going to go forward and
wearing FootJoys.
God, man, we just don't have like the big faces on brands like we used to. I mean, you even look at Nike. I mean, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Cristiano Ronaldo, Serena Williams. I mean, LeBron James is going to be done soon. Like the big iconic guys we had on these brands, you just don't see them around.
Where's Shohei? What brand is Shohei? It just makes me think of Talladega Nights when they're doing it, when Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly are doing the commercials, and he does the one for like the Chinese candy, and he just speaks Chinese the whole time. But now, like it's cyclical, right? You'll have your next guys up do it. But yeah, it seems like the end of an era. And it's been an end of the era for maybe your energy or strength or focus.
It has.
Because that's what happens. Guys, you get older, that testosterone, it goes down. It's science. All right? Well, our friends over at Nugenix, they basically built a time machine. All right? Because you're not the same guy you were 10 years ago. I know I'm not, but I want to feel like it. Again, I'm turning 35 this year. All right? But I'm feeling great because I take Nugenix. Blaine takes it. David takes it. Why do you think David still looks like he's in high school right now? This is a father of 3. All right, he's been through the ringer. Yet he's waking up every day looking like that thanks to Nugenix. And their Total T testosterone booster with Testofen, it'll help you turn back the clock and re-energize your life. You want to kill that workout again? Go take Nugenix. All right, hit home runs like Frank Thomas, throw Hail Marys like Doug Flutie, and you can prove it to yourself risk-free. And if you can try it before you buy it, and there's nothing to lose and everything to gain. New energy, muscle, drive, and even more passion. Yeah, you know what I mean. Get your complimentary sample when you text 231-231 and enter keyword Crain. So you text the number 231-231, you enter keyword Crain, that's C-R-A-I-N. It's a fantastic product. Like I said, it can help get you back. Blaine, you went and got your testosterone tested. It was like at 4. I mean, you were basically a chick.
Oh, I bet.
Whoa. Like a young.
You ever got assaulted live on YouTube?
Live on YouTube.
Yes, my testosterone was low.
But now everybody's low.
But now it's jumping out the gym. All right? It's jumping out the gym. What's up, Nike? No, I'm good.
So right now, you can text now and get a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest and most powerful fat incinerator ever, with key ingredients to help you lose fat fast and get lean even faster. Absolutely free. Text 231-231 and enter keyword Crain, C-R-A-I-N. All right, here we go. Text again enrolls you in recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase messages. Data rates may apply. Number 1 doctor recommended brand by primary physicians based on survey conducted by IQVIA 2022.
Well.
Hey, apparently Shohei is New Balance.
Ooh, balance.
Him in yellow.
Shohei's already a dad.
All right, let's get to the NFL before. We got calls opening up here in 12 minutes.
Yep.
We got Timmy B coming on here in 7 minutes. But let's get to the NFL.
A couple things quickly here. Lions head coach Dan Campbell says tight end Sam Laporta, who hyperextended his knee last weekend, has an outside shot to play versus the Rams. You believe in any of this or not?
No. How? What?
You came back. You bounced back from.
You hyperextended your knee, dog. There's no way you come back and play the next week unless they're holding science we don't know.
Here's, and you're getting into my point here. I love where your head's at right now. I don't understand how Elon can land rockets backwards on platforms in the Indian Ocean. How we can clone goats. How the gun that I saw the military have the other day, like, can shoot through time. Yet, Sam Laporta hyperextends his knee, and he can't play a week later. Doctors and scientists, what do y'all do all day? You're either lying to us, all right, holding stuff back like you said, or you guys need need to put the puzzle pieces together. A hyperextended knee?
Oh.
I mean, goodness gracious. It's 2024. Put some liquid paper on a B or something.
I
want to watch the best players play.
There's no way he comes back and plays.
No, this is gamesmanship. This is, I'm going to make you have to, you don't know 100%, so you're going to have to prepare like he might play, may steal a little practice time away from somebody else. Not like you're not going to get ready for a tight end.
I don't want to see
but it's about personnel and matchups.
I don't want to see Sam running a dig route on crutches.
Yeah.
Just like slowly getting through the middle of the...
Here goes Laporta. He's going to get there.
He's settling in.
He's still faster than Jared Goff.
A couple more injury updates here. The Dolphins, already banged up defense,
bad,
are missing 2 more linebackers before they go on the road and play the Chiefs. Chiefs haven't looked like world beaters down the stretch, but you got to like them at Arrowhead.
Is this an under? Even though with the 2 linebackers out, is this an under? What's the line?
Do we have the 90?
You got that under over there?
Oh, yeah, do I?
Yeah.
What do I look like? All right, it is...
Han Solo?
Like a guy who just hung up on Nike?
It is 43.5.
God,
that's low.
I hate betting the NFL.
God, I hate betting the NFL.
I hate it so much.
That's low.
I just hate it. Like, it's literally betting the NFL.
It's 3.5 Kansas City.
It's almost just to ask somebody who doesn't know situation
at
the NCAA tournament. Like, I'll ask Reed. That's what I need to do. I need to run that ground ball out. I need to test that experiment. I just need to ask Reed her 2 NFL bets every time and just see what percentage she hits at.
One thing on the Giants here quickly, defensive coordinator Wink Martindale resigned as the DC. Not fired, just said, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I'm a big Brian Daboll fan, but there's some things going on in New York that it doesn't look like positive momentum.
No, I mean, have you seen the Giants offense this year? I wouldn't want to be the DC either. But no, I get what you're saying. I know they had that win against the Eagles to kind of end the year. But Daboll, I mean, you're on the clock, year 3. The Daniel Jones experiment, didn't bear fruit the next year after he kind of had that breakthrough year. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation right now when you're not winning in that league and you're a guy that says traveled as Wink Martindale, which, what a great name. It's tough to see because I like Wink, but sometimes change is good for Breeds Brothers, fresh start.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. I do want to talk quickly about the NCAA basketball. The new AP poll came out. So here's the top 10. Purdue still sits at the top. So Purdue, Houston, Kansas, UConn, Tennessee in the top 5. Then you got Kentucky, North Carolina, Arizona, Oklahoma, and Illinois to round out the top 10. Marquette falls, Marquette and Duke 11 and 12 there. But Auburn up to 16.
Yep.
We don't look at rankings.
Yeah, we're not. I care about
it. I know you looked at the rankings.
I'm in such a great... It's been such a renaissance for Auburn basketball. I now just care about the NCAA tournament. I used to never be in that spot. I used to be like, man, if we could just make it, even as a 15 seed, I'd be so excited. Now I'm just like, all right, Bruce.
Final 4, Bruce.
Final 4, our bus. Sippeth from the cup.
As long as we don't play Miami.
Oh, dude.
In the NCAA tournament, I think we got a chance.
I wake up every morning and just have flashbacks of Wong
I wake up every morning Wong's just hitting us.
We got Jabari Smith Jr. and Walker Kessler.
There's nothing like...
Getting balled on by a guy named Wong.
And then you go watch Walker Kessler block everybody in the NBA.
And Jabari Smith Jr.
I was like, how do we not win?
I know. Well, it's the same way like Rick Barnes. You didn't make the Sweet 16 with Kevin Durant. I mean, that's tough. But
Purdue's good.
You want to talk about parity, right? If you enjoy parity, you're going to love college basketball. What I'm looking at right now is I still don't trust Purdue in the NCAA tournament. I don't think they're athletic enough at guard.
Ooh.
I still don't. Yeah, you got that monster Zach Edey, right, who's an incredible player. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's the size of a Meineke car care center.
Who's taller, him or Joe Flacco?
The dome. What? Him or the dome.
What?
Yeah. But I don't trust Matt Painter and Purdue in the tournament. I just don't. They've shown it to me. If you can't win that bad boy with Ivy and some of the cats they've had, I look out there and you got Gillis. I love Braden Smith. I'll root for any white guy at a high level of basketball that's under 6'6". It's unbelievably impressive. But I don't think you're winning it. What I'm looking at right now is who's that old mid-major team
who plays for Colorado State?
That's funny.
Yeah,
who's on Colorado State?
Because I was about to say, we talked a little bit about Seton Hall. Oh, yeah, they did it again. Their last 4 games, they have 3 wins. One over number 5 UConn by 15 points, by the way.
Yep.
One over 23 Providence and one over number 7 Marquette.
Yeah, and then lost to Xavier because the Big East is drunk in basketball. Good luck betting that. DePaul plays Georgetown tonight. You got a better. I got a better chance of putting some lemon juice on the back of the Constitution and finding out where National Treasure is with Nicolas Cage than you do of figuring out what's going to go on the Big East. But now I'm not even talking about like Seton Hall, David. I'm talking about like what's App State?
Oh.
Like, who is this? We see old teams, old works. Old is great in NCAA basketball. Why do you think all these one and done teams never win it?
They don't win it.
They never win it. I'm just wondering which one of these old heads. You look at the SEC. How many elite teams are in the SEC? Kentucky had that nice win at Florida. Tennessee looks to be like Tennessee. But again, you want to talk about somebody you don't trust during the tournament. We can talk about Rick Barnes, right? And I love me some Rick Barnes. Have I ever seen him and Michael Scott in the same room? No. Do I think they could possibly be the same person? I don't know.
Is the kid from Uruguay still playing at Tennessee?
Vescovi?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to do that and then go try and kill Bruce Willis.
Dude. He's like, it's a me, and he just passes the ball in the corner.
Yeah, he just runs the whole time. I would hate guarding. Vescovi is the last guy in the world I'd want to guard.
Never stopped.
The last guy in the world.
Never stopped.
But we all laugh. Like, we all know, like, Kansas is going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
UConn.
We'll see. I love tournament basketball. It's my favorite thing. Before we bring Tim Brando on, our good friend from Fox, I do want to say, please, everyone at YouTube TV, for the NCAA tournament, for this multi-view, can we just figure it out? I've not been very impressed with the multi-views for college basketball on YouTube.
The 4-box.
Like, I need True TV, I need CBS, I need TBS, I need that all in a multi-view. All right, I'm just letting everybody at YouTube TV know that. Whoever needs to hear that, all right, let's figure it out.
I'm sure they're working. Be able to piece our own multi-view together.
Well, we can't. So
that's what I'm saying. You should be able to grab.
Well, they said it's like the capabilities of everybody's TV. I'm not a TV scientist, all right? I don't know the answer to that. But I'm going to bring a scientist in here.
Bring him in.
A sports scientist. Not John Brinkus, all right? This guy's even smarter.
Poloed up.
That's right. Our friend over at Fox, Timmy B, covers basketball, covers football. Will cover you like a warm blanket in the wintertime if you ask nicely and you happen to be by the Chateau. Our buddy Tim Brando. Timmy B, Michigan. National champ.
Gentlemen.
How about it?
Hail to the victors.
Yeah, here we go.
Hail to the
Close enough.
Close
enough. I love it.
Hey, man, happy for you, David. I am, and I'm happy for a lot of my Michigan friends. I just put out a post a moment ago with the Sklar brothers, the brothers Sklar, a couple of my favorite comedians. I went there to do a game with Nebraska about 5 years ago, and my friend John U. Bacon, the noted author of Michigan fame, teaches there now, as you know, and he took me to see them after they came up to the booth to see Spencer and me. That was my, I think, second trip into the big house. I still believe one of my greatest bucket list moments since joining Fox was going into the big house for the first time and being side by side with Dan Deerdorf, who was still doing the radio for Michigan at that time, and knowing and being a friend of his that worked with him at CBS. I thought he was one of the best jocks to ever go into the booth for Monday night, and I know he's a happy camper these days as a player that played for Bo and the team, and it was, listen, I was wrong about my pick, and I've got no problem with it because I'm happy for Michigan. It's been a long wait for them. They went through hell in a handbasket to get where they were this year, and regardless of what happens in the next 48 to 72 hours with Jim and his future and their future, this will be a year and a season to remember for a lifetime. So congratulations to all.
Yeah.
Timmy B, I want to ask you just to kind of sum up this year of college football. Obviously, the last year of the 14 playoff. As we move toward the 12 team, there's been a lot of changes, the transfer portal, NIL, conference realignment. If you could sum up this college football season in one word, what would that word be?
Oh my God! Could I combine?
I know I'm putting you on the spot here. You can combine. You can hyphenate it.
You know what we like to do sometimes in broadcasting is create words that aren't really words. Chaotic bliss.
Yeah,
chaotic in the sense that we have so much going on the periphery of the sport with so much change that's taking place. and with so many people upset about a lot of the changes, regardless of what era you may have been raised in, you're just uncomfortable with so much of what's happening. And yet, for me, it's blissful. And I think for a lot of other people that want to see progress, in the sport, to take it to the 21st century. Because we've been mired in the 20th century with the postseason, particularly forever. Since the beginning of time, college football has screwed up the postseason. I mean, we've got teams that put numbers on helmets signifying the number of national championships, and we don't even know what wire service it was that gave them a national championship in the early 1900s. And I think that now we do see, I think, a path that's going to make the sport even bigger, grander, and perhaps bring more attention to its postseason, because it's long forgotten. You'll see this when the ratings come out. And it won't just be because neither Georgia or Alabama were in the game, although the Washington factor will play a role in the rating not being what, the Michigan-Alabama rating was. But you guys keep up with all sports. You're doing a show on a daily basis. Tell me how much buzz there was this past week for this game that was played last night. Not a lot.
None.
I mean, not a lot for you, maybe, David. For you, for Michigan
not much
fans,
though. We sat at the cigar shop.
Well, tell Timmy B about the cigar. This is like a microcosm.
Walked into the cigar shop yesterday to get some smokes for the show. I said, "You guys expecting a big crowd tonight?" He said, "No." I mean, granted, we're in Nashville, but he said when there's not an SEC team in it, people don't care. And we've known, we get it, we understand. We're from the South, but I said, really, even Tennessee fans around here, they'd rather see Ole Miss playing in the game. He said, "Oh, if Ole Miss was playing in the game, it'd be packed." He said we had a packed house for Michigan, Alabama in the Rose Bowl. 3 minutes after the game, the place cleared out. There was only 3 of us left to watch Texas and Washington.
Wow.
Right. Well, part of that is the Monday night factor and the game being played so late, and the fact that we wait so long for the postseason to begin after the regular season ends. Now, that's going to come to a screeching halt. By having first-round playoff games with 12 teams that begin in mid-December, we'll only wait 2 weeks.
I can't wait.
Weeks.
It's great.
From the end of the regular season to the start of the postseason.
You'll get better football. You'll get better football, TV.
True.
You won't see nearly as many false starts in these games, all right, once we get to a championship format that has teams playing week after week after week. And it's going to be 3 weeks worth when we go to 12. And as I've told you guys many times, I'm on record, I believe we will go to 16 in the new television deal when that deal is put together.
Timmy, last question I have for you. Who leaves college football first, Jim Harbaugh or Nick Saban?
Harbaugh. Sorry, David, but Harbaugh.
Hey, at this point, we'll help him move.
David's getting the car right after this drive up.
He did everything, man. I mean, you did it all.
See, how did you not, though, how if you're Jim Harbaugh with the Cartier sunglasses on yesterday, how are you not eating a burger from the brown jug? Is that what it's called? On the podium. I would have had one brought.
Whatever.
And I would have Connor Stallions and a burger up there celebrating with us.
Oh, Connor was up there.
Because I'm petty. I'm
Richard Central
petty.
Connor was up there. Connor was actually
petty.
Harbaugh dressed up.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
I thought when he put the shades on, I really did think back to Bo, because he was the subject of one of my posts. One of my earliest games to work that was meaningful to me was the end of the 86 season. Jim was third in the Heisman balloting. It was the first week in December, and it was one of those crazy years scheduling-wise, and maybe it will take some Michigan fans, some hardcore, Dr. Sapp type people, David, for a little inside Michigan there, people to tell you why. But he chose to play Hawaii on the first Saturday of December, which was obviously Heisman Saturday. And we got the game, our Saturday night CFA primetime crew, and I was the host sideline guy. This was before game day was created. And I'll never forget Bruce Made, the longtime SID, setting me up, and I was so excited to get to talk to Bo, both pregame and postgame. And Bo was one of these old cantankerous, could be gruff at times, but especially if he didn't know you. And I was a babe in the woods at the time. I just turned 30. And I don't know that he really knew who I was, but he came over. He says, "All right, Bruce tells me we're going to talk." I said, yeah, I'll get whatever you need, but just, I need, but only a couple of minutes? I said, just a couple of minutes. And then when the game was over, he stopped and we talked. But he got it. He was just such a nice guy.
Yeah.
As I said, gruff in the moment, but such a nice guy. And I think a lot was made last night, and understandably so, of Jack Harbaugh and that family. And I've met them all in Crestline, Ohio, as a matter of fact. The Gottfried family from Crestline was close. Joe Gottfried was very close to Jack Harbaugh. Joe is Mike Gottfried's brother and Mark Gottfried's father, the basketball coach. And I played in that golf event that they had, and we talked a lot about the relationships that they had and what just a down-to-earth guy Bo always was. And that's one of the things that people loved about him. Even those people he pissed off had to like him, okay, because of the guy he was. And I feel sort of the same way about Jim. I think he patterned himself after Bo as a head coach.
Yeah.
The team. I mean, he knew exactly the chord to strike with Michigan at a time when that program was in dire straits. When you think about what he went through, the lack of patience, and Michigan people really thinking about running him out, taking a pay cut, post-COVID going through the entire situation of letting Don Brown go, a man that he really respected a great deal, still has a great relationship with, but they couldn't beat Ohio State with Don Brown's defense. So he brought in what? Intellectual property from a 21st century coach that had been part of the Ravens with his brother John. And I thought Minter's defense was the difference in the game, without a doubt. I mean, they absolutely forced, I think, a great quarterback, an elite quarterback, into having an awful night. And the timing was off. The secondary had the receivers, the best group of receivers we've ever seen. They had them in their grill and manned them up and out-physicaled them throughout the game. But Penix wasn't sharp, and part of that was because of Michigan's defense and its intensity. Now, Jim Harbaugh made tough decisions, and decisions that ultimately got them to the promised land and an undisputed title for the first time in 48 years. That's saying a lot. So congratulations to him. And I don't know what they're going to do in the future, but I know this: Michigan's going to be perceived in a manner that they want, because now they've got some currency. Currency to go along with their history. It had been a long, long drought for them in terms of, national championship opportunities, and they took advantage of it.
And Tim Brando, I have to say, you've had that winged helmet in your shot there at the Chateau for as long as I've known you these last 3 years. That's not a new addition. We were 3 points away from playing for the national title my freshman year. Since then, the Southeastern Conference has had a stranglehold on college football. They've been the dominant force. The Buckeyes have been the dominant force and the gold standard in the Big Ten. What you talked about with Jim Harbaugh, Michigan went and got its guy, the guy who played quarterback for Bo Schembechler.
Right.
It was as bad as it could be after the 2020 season, down in the dumps, rough times. Since then, he's gone 40-3. And what I've said is Michigan, this team, this unit just won. They just won their first national title in program history. And I say that because every other championship up to this point was either claimed or it was awarded with the media or the coaches. This one was won. Can you put it into perspective just from a historical standpoint on what Michigan was able to accomplish and what it means for some of these other blue blood programs across the country who haven't quite been able to get over the hump yet?
Well, a proud tradition reborn is a difficult thing to claim. Okay, they've been trying to do it at Texas for quite a while. Okay, since 2005. You can see and you can visualize what they're going through. They got close this year. They took that first step. Nebraska, my God, after owning college football in many eras, okay, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, they're still clamoring for that opportunity. What Jim did is prove that it can be done. And I think it's even harder, David, when you are coaching at your alma mater. I think the pressure is even greater because it's self-imposed.
Yeah.
There's such self-imposed pressure that's brought on. Nothing that went on from the periphery was bothering Jim Harbaugh any more than Jim Harbaugh was bothered by his lack of productivity during that period when he couldn't get past Ohio State. And he showed a great deal of humility and I thought intelligence. And through this entire process, even up till I thought that was the first time last night in that presser and I didn't hear the question, but I overheard the comment on SVP's show late last night. He said, we're innocent. Okay. And whether he's innocent or he's not innocent, doesn't matter. He answered the question. Okay. Regardless, he answered the question. And for that alleged situation to take place, it would have cratered, most coaches because of their not being necessarily comfortable in their own skin. Jim, for all of his quirks, is incredibly comfortable in his own skin, which tells you that at his core, he feels that he's honest and he feels that he looked in the mirror, found the enemy at times, and the enemy was himself. And he addressed those issues. Mm-hmm. And when you bring in guys that are part of your staff that can win without you, all right, that says a lot about the guy that's the leader, okay? Oh, yeah. And whether it was more on offense or Mentor on defense, and I thought I thought he was the difference from a coaching standpoint this past week. In a short week to get ready for a team that was that different from Alabama's, okay? Yeah. That defense was completely different in design than the one we saw get 6 sacks against Jalen Milroe. And it had to be. And it was another one of the reasons why I really thought Washington would win the game. Yeah. Because a quick turnaround, I really felt you'd need 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get ready for what Washington was going to do if you were a Michigan team, because they had not seen anything like him. But to the credit of those that felt like the line of scrimmage would also be different and unique, good for them, because they threw around that offensive line in a way that I never thought they would. And so that was the difference in the game. And again, Jim Harbaugh, as the leader, he takes the hits for things that happen within the program. He must also get the credit for the hires that he made, the staff he put together. And when he believes that he's doing it the right way and that there's a lot of purity going on within that program, I believe him. Okay, well, regardless of what anybody else has to say.
All right, Timmy, let's get into the chat. King Don Sobeg wants to know, #Timmer, says, how does this game affect Michael Penix's draft stock, and where do you think he goes?
Well, I think it does affect, the high rise that he was on after last week's game, because, that was an incredible performance he put on. You could argue that there aren't many quarterbacks that performed any better in a playoff scenario than Michael Penix did in that game. It was Burrow-esque, the way he was throwing that deep ball, and those receivers were catching it right in the pocket and not really having to work for it. Usually Odunze and McMillan and Polk have to make some real acrobatic catches and 50-50 balls. He was throwing balls in stride that were absolutely where only his receivers could catch
long handoffs.
In this game, I think that getting to him the way they did and him getting nicked up the way he did, playing with pain, which showed you a lot about his courage and his ability to play with that pain, it probably brings back a lot of memories of how injured he was throughout his entire four-year span at Indiana. And that will be the question mark coming at the next level. So it'll affect him. I still think he'll go high. He should be a first-rounder, in my opinion. Yeah. But it will definitely affect his his place. I would have thought he would have been the first, one of the first 5 or 6 guys taken in the draft after last week's performance. Maybe not. He'll be a first rounder, but maybe not the first 5 or 6 picks.
Yeah, I think he goes in at least the first 15. Let's go to John Mosman Productions. Yeah. Tim, he wants to know if Harbaugh leaves, who do you think takes over for Michigan?
Got to be Sharon, right? Got to be, right?
If you want to keep that infrastructure in place, yeah. I think a lot will depend on the direction Michigan wants to go. Ward Manuel is still the athletic director, and I do believe that if that administration wants to keep that umbrella of greatness and carry it through to next season, it would be very wise to look at Sharon, because if you don't go there, somebody else will. Okay. Yeah. So that's a very good assessment, I think. Sharon makes a lot of sense. But if Sharon Moore is not the guy, then and you bring in someone like BK from LSU, I think you disrupt a lot of what took place just last night and this past year. I think you want to hold on to that remnants and take it to the next level. But sometimes you guys know how ADs can be. I want my guy. whoever my guy is. So that's a 50-50, but I tend to agree with you, Jake. I think I would stay in-house because Moore has earned that opportunity. He really has.
think so.
And by the way, he loves those mother blanking guys. He loves them. Why not?
I'm emotional.
Yeah, I love those guys, baby.
Sharon Moore will get the first look, I think. But I heard one this morning already, and I laughed, and you guys may laugh, but
say John Gruden. Let me laugh.
No,
you say Urban Meyer.
That would be Kalen DeBoer. What if you go after the coach you just beat in the national championship? And Michigan
you want to talk about a power move?
I don't think. That would obviously be a great hire. But there's one word that I think in this ever moving landscape of college football with the transfer portal and guys coming in. There's one word with coaches moving, and I put this on social media the other day. I think the most important attribute we're going to see in teams is the word continuity. Who can have continuity? And if you keep Sharon Moore, you keep that continuity, you keep that way about it. Because when a lot of things are changing, sometimes the things that stay mostly the same tend to have the most success when there's indecision and indifference.
Yeah, and let's not lose sight of this, fellas, particularly if what we believe is going to happen with Harbaugh happens and he goes to the NFL. The image and impressions that are out there about this program right now, especially from a defensive concepts area, is about what? They're the college version of the Baltimore Ravens, right? It's not a bad image to have for your defense. And, if you look back at the success that Jim had with the 49ers, guys like Mentor, people like that, he was able to always put together great staffs. He didn't have necessarily that staff that he needed until really the last 3 years, and look what's happened. All right. So to hire from within, to hold on to that staff or as much of it as you possibly can, I think you do go in-house and you promote from within. So I hope you're right about Sharon Moore. I do.
Definitely. Well, Timmy B, we always love talking to you, man. Thank you so much for coming on during the football season. But we got college basketball. I know you're all over the map with that. We're just going to move right into this thing and be able to transition. Obviously, there's still a lot of college football stuff going on. Seems like the transfer portal's never closed.
Illinois and Michigan State on Thursday night.
Man, I'll tell you what, Big Ten basketball, very
good.
Interesting to watch Michigan State playing better offensively. I like what Hogard's doing. I feel like Tyson Walker's the Michael Penix Jr. of college basketball. He's been there for 35 years.
Yeah, this kid from Illinois that brought them back against Purdue. They were getting blown out.
Yeah,
Domask. He's like Robbie Hummel with a better part. He's got this great part, and it's just he makes shot after shot. And they'll be on display. That's a team that you got to keep an eye on moving forward. To do what they've been doing is pretty amazing, and just very athletic. Purdue's legit. They are better. I heard you talking about them earlier.
You trust their athleticism at guard, though? That's what worries me.
I think their wing players are better. Not necessarily the guards, not necessarily the point guard, okay? But their wing players are better than they were before. And I think that's what Zach Edey needs. Remember, Edey had a very poor performance, and they were up, 15 points at halftime. And now he made a greater contribution in the second half, and Illinois, made a run at them. So, but the Big East, as you mentioned, is absolutely loaded. Shaheen Holloway's putting on a show with his team, knocking off 3 top 20 teams, 2 of them in the top 15 in the last couple of weeks. And, the Big 12 is absolutely loaded too. So the conferences are going to be great. And by the way, one parting note on football before I go. Those of you that are concerned or sad about, it's the end of an era, the Pac-12 is coming to an end, check out those matchups next year in the Big 12 and the Big 10 to go along with what the SEC has. We're just going to have better volume and better inventory of college football to show you on a weekly basis. And, the WWE is going away on Fox on Fridays, which means the Big Ten's going to have a showcase Friday night game now. Ooh. Every week, a big game. Now, Michigan and Ohio State won't play home games, but they'll play some of their road games on Fridays. And the Big Ten schedule is going to be immense and intense next year with a defending champion in it. And our friends in the SEC will just have to come to grips with the glory of the victors in Michigan.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hail to the victors. Tim, always great to talk to you, my friend. Can't wait to talk some hoops with you here very shortly. Enjoy the Chateau. Hope you enjoyed the game last night. We'll talk soon, my friend. Give the family our love.
You got it. Great being with all of you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Timmy.
Appreciate it, man.
Timmy B. All right, let's get to calls, Dave.
Gotta kill my father, man.
Let's go to Ben in Missouri. Ben, how you doing?
Oh, Bean.
Hey, guys. I was just wanting to check in on Steve and all the other Ohio State fans who are probably having, one of the worst months ever in recent memory.
It's a tough situation.
It's a Wamberger and French fries situation right now.
But, hey, nobody is going to be more pissed off for greatness than Ohio State now.
Oh, yeah, that's why they had to land Quinshon Judkins on the same day. But in all fairness to Steve, he was pulling for Michigan in the Rose Bowl.
I will give Steve credit. He's the only guy who roots for his rival to do
Yeah, I mean, look, if you lose against, Michigan again, Dave, they're not going to fire you. They're going to take you out on a boat.
Yeah.
In the middle of the Atlantic.
Yeah, you're going to be like Dexter
not coming
at the
back.
end of the last season.
I saw a Buckeye post after we won 3 straight this year and said, how in the world did Michigan do this 8 straight times? How did they deal with this?
Well, between Michigan and Mizzou, the Block M is kind of now a bad symbol there in the state of Ohio.
Sure, agreed.
But I was wondering about, of course, the what Tim Brando was talking about there a little bit with the how long we wait for the postseason now, and of course the 12-team playoff will assuage some of that. But people were always talking about. I think David, you hit a little bit on this. It would have been months ago, if not a year ago now, about how they had to schedule around players like finals and their academics with school. And with this whole NIL and college football becoming bigger than ever, you guys have talked about it. At what point do these kids become employees of the school? And if the 12-team playoff is coming and the academics are increasingly going to get, pushed out of the way a little bit, do you think that we'll eventually hit a point where these kids will become employees and academics won't matter and it's just going to become purely athletic?
Yeah, no doubt. I'd like to hear your perspective on this from a coaching standpoint because there's a couple things at play here. One, college football starts around Labor Day weekend. I know you have some week 0 stuff. You can't really move that. It's a fantastic opportunity. That's when football starts. As long as I've been growing up, that's when football starts. Then you play it out. These bowl games have always been on New Year's Day, and people are like, don't move them. It's New Year's Eve. It's New Year's Day. That's when the most important bowl games get played. But then you have this thing that happens in the middle of December, which is the end of the academic year, which was always something we were being navigated through, and some guys could be ineligible for a bowl game, that's just 2 weeks later because of the cut that happens there. What I've argued is you can move the end of this college football season up and move the transfer portal window and this first signing day, which didn't exist when I was playing. You signed in February. Move that back to the end of the season, and it would only take a few small tweaks on the back end. How are you navigating this as a coach?
Well, I mean, again, if we're talking about when you're taking finals, if you're playing in a postseason game, especially one that's whether it's a conference championship game or whether it's now the 12-team playoff. Outside of that, I'm not too worried about you taking a final if we're going to play the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Like, we can work our way around that. To me, though, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, it's easy to move the transfer portal window and that stuff. It's easy to move signing day, but that really doesn't alleviate the problem of you having to prepare for a game, a big game, while finals is going on. I don't think they're going to move the academic. I think it's part of it, but I think this goes into the recipe of how mature your team is. I think this goes into the recipe of how your team prepares, how organized you are. I think that's one of the challenges, is it's not just the on-the-field stuff that you're having to overcome. It's having to wade through this as well. So I think it kind of goes into the calculus of it's never going to be unbelievably easy unless you just take away the finals, which who the hell knows in the next 5 years what's going to happen. But I think it goes into the calculus of how you organize your team, how you get through things, and I think it goes into the championship recipe a little bit. I don't want to change, some of the stuff. It's never going to be just all easy and all smooth, right? I don't think there's a way, like a blanket way, to make everything perfect like that. I think it's just part of it.
Blaine, would you like to see a situation in college athletics and football specifically where the football players are no longer students? They just play football.
No.
I would hate that.
No, I don't want to see that.
I would hate
Well,
that.
we have that. It's called the NFL.
I don't. I mean,
exactly.
That's
We
what
have
it
a
is.
version of that where guys get paid, but at the same time, I've always said if you have a skill set that you can be compensated for, I never loved college football just because the guys weren't getting paid. So to answer Ben's question, yeah, they will eventually be. If you want to call them employees, look, we got paid when I was there too. If you were on scholarship, you got your $1,600 to $2,000 a month on your stipend.
I was about to say, well, we got them. Everybody come in here.
Well, no, like it was your player stipend. That's a part of your college. Did you pay your rent with it? Did you decide to buy dinner? Like whatever. It was a pitiful amount.
Yeah.
What happens when that goes up to $160,000? The question that's more interesting to me is not will college athletes be paid and will they receive a share of the revenue and the compensation, is will it be uniform across all 85 scholarships? Because that's what happened with us. Everybody got the same amount to pay rent. Or will it be you're the star quarterback, you're getting $200,000 and we're going to put it under NIL and you're going to get $5,000?
Well, see, we already have this going on, and like nobody really in college basketball. Some of these one and done guys, they don't go to class. Like there was a while for Duke in North Carolina. You just didn't go to school.
Yeah.
Like they just woke up and passed you a basketball and told you to walk around campus a couple times. Like you got guys that don't go to class. You think some of these cats are going to class? Have you lost your mind? Like this has been going on in college basketball for a long time and nobody seems to care. But I feel like part of college football is you are going to college while you are playing. That is part of it. You must be taking classes to be on the team. Now, you could Tim Tebow in high school this thing where, hey, I go to Nice High School only during football time. Then I go home and homeschool, which means I lift weights and drink milk.
I just miss the days when we paid guys under the table.
I know. I just
miss those days.
And they just didn't go to class because they didn't go.
No, I want more transparency, but I don't know if we're going to get there.
No, I want to know.
I don't know. Did you see that D-line from Michigan?
I want to know what's happening. I just don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Right? I want to know what's happening, but I want to argue about it later.
Ben, we appreciate your call, man. Hey, call in again next week, please. All right, let's go to Brian in Boston. Brian, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me. Before I get to the point, I got home last night. I asked my wife if she wanted to watch the Natty with me. She was like, yeah, absolutely. Wait, what is it again? I tell her it's the game. She goes, I thought you were talking about The Chosen. You know, Jesus of Nazareth.
Yeah. The first Natty ever won.
Yeah.
Look.
I lost it. That was great. But, again, one more thing. Sorry, before shifting into the game. Watch party for the Thursday and Friday of the tournament. All-day marathon session. 15 hours, Crain and Company.
You don't listen. You don't tip me with a good time.
Oh,
wait,
15 hours.
15
for the opening
hours?
day?
Opening the NCAA tournament.
Wait,
Thursday,
15 hours.
Wait, we should do that.
I'm
No
on
show the next
Eastern
day.
Standard Time. It's noon time for me. Thursday and Friday, back to back. You can have your colleagues coming in and out during the broadcast. Get Knowles on there. Get Walsh on there.
Wait, we should do that.
I love it, man. I just,
Absolutely.
you know, some people don't like the Boston accent. I think it's so dope.
Brian, this is an elite accent.
I'd go to
elite
like
accent.
if Brian. If you
I just wish I could be like, I want to do the live
if
stream
you told
in here.
me to go run in
There
a
you
trench
go.
and shoot
Oh, yeah.
somebody, I
Oh, for
would.
sure.
I feel like
if
I'm
I was in
going.
World War II, I would want my captain or lieutenant to be from Boston. Like, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. All right, we're going to get off this boat, and we're going to go get them. All right?
Yeah,
Just like the Sox
the
back in 1914.
I feel like I'm about to
Ryan
hop in the
Willie
car
Johnson.
Try to
with
tax
Mark
me?
Wahlberg.
Tax me.
Oh no, it's George.
Where's the tea at? I'm going to dump it in the harbor.
Brian, first off, you got to call more often because there's a lot of good ideas coming out right now, and I think we need to
love
do
it.
this. We need to do this
Absolutely.
live stream.
I
also, tell your wife there was actually.
If you want to invite,
I was going to
if you
say,
want to
look,
invite a guest from Boston on there for 20 minutes, hey, I can make it work on my end too.
We got
Okay,
Samuel
good.
Adams.
Yeah.
And Paul Revere's kids, Saul Revere.
we're going to keep that in mind and tell your wife there was probably more praying in the national championship
For sure.
than even on the Chosen show.
For sure.
A lot of prayers being sent up high last night.
Yeah.
I just wonder where they were
love
going to
it.
show Jim Caviezel at some point.
Oh, man, we appreciate
that's
it.
great.
Love the ideas, man.
Yeah, I love it, B.
Thanks, guys. With the game though, sorry, the real reason I wanted to call is I was down on last time I talked to you guys. I was super high on Penix. He didn't play great last night, and I was a little down on him going to bed. But I think I've turned a corner. It was a good Michigan defense that got to him.
Mm-hmm.
They took him out of his game. He threw off his back foot most of the game. They made him uncomfortable. And sometimes you got to tip your cap to a good team.
Without a
doing
doubt.
that to an elite athlete.
Without a doubt. I thought the pressure they put on, and you could tell Washington's got a veteran offensive line, but even they were a little bit, I don't know if shell-shocked is the word, but it felt like they were on their heels, like they were on their back foot trying to protect against Michigan. I mean, the one touchdown that Washington scored was because they communicated and picked up that twist coming to the boundary and was able to give McMillan time, or Polk, I can't remember which one of them, to be able to cross over the middle and Penix could find him. Outside of that, it seemed like Michael Penix was falling away when he was throwing the ball. He was having to get out of the pocket and create, which is not his bag. I thought Michigan won a lot of their one-on-ones.
I thought Washington offensive line didn't play bad.
I thought they did.
If you go
from
back,
a wholesome
73 sure did.
standpoint,
I mean, 73 made timely mistakes.
Well, that's
right?
playing
And that's
bad
going to be
to me.
overly focused on a lot of things. But I don't think you go back and you watch this game. Michael Penix, I mean, as good as this defensive line is, this front seven is for Michigan, Michael Penix had plenty of good pockets that he sat in. And you just didn't. Even that deep ball, that he just missed that
You
pass.
know what'll be reviewed the most, though, are the misses when Michigan did bust coverage.
yeah, and they busted on the same route combo
Yeah,
twice.
same combo.
One time they
Yeah,
got
like
hit
that
for
early
it. The
fourth
first time
down
they
play.
didn't. Yeah.
I don't think Michael Penix got any help from these balling-ass receivers that are supposed to be. I saw
They got locked down.
11 dropped a lot of passes. Odunze made mistakes we're not used to seeing. Or we seeing, Polk drop passes. And at the end of the day, I mean, you can't do that against this football team. So that makes Michael Penix look bad.
Well, two, with the way Michigan played it, and I want to sum it up here, with the way Michigan played it over the top, to be able to hit big plays, you have got to be able to break tackles. Washington could not break tackles outside of a couple times to be able to try to maybe to get Michigan to come down to force the action a little bit. So if you're going to play, if the defense is going to play over the top, you're not going to take advantage of the couple times they do bust, and you're not going to break tackles for big plays on screens or short route or intermediate game. You're not going to move the ball, especially when you get in the red zone, and that's what we saw happen last time.
Yeah.
Broke 0 tackles.
They didn't break a tackle all night, Jake.
Yeah.
They didn't break a tackle.
That's the
all
difference.
night.
That's the difference. That's the difference. That you want to know why Michigan beat Washington and Oregon didn't? Because Michigan tackled in space and Oregon didn't. That was the difference.
Yep. Appreciate it, Brian.
Great
Thanks
call,
very
Brian.
much, man. Call next week. All right, let's go to Mason in Texas. Mason, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Mason,
What's up, Mason?
buddy?
I was just calling in. Great show, listening to y'all all the time. You know,
Thank
heading
you, bro.
to school and working out. So
Oh, yeah, get that
I just
pump.
want to talk about a little bit about the national championship game. Was it just me, or did Penix just look thrown off by the complete was it just Minter's defense, just like the scheme and confusing him? Because, he's been in the league for a while.
I don't.
Just thrown off.
Mason, I don't think it was confusing. There was a couple reads here and there where I thought Penix, could have made a different decision, but it felt like most of his reads were right. What I found to be the most frustrating, I think, from his perspective, is you could never really get into a rhythm down the field to be able to open up the underneath. And when you were completing underneath passes like I just talked about, Michigan was tackling. How many times did Washington line up in 2x2, run that quick out to the field where Penix spit it down to the bottom, where you have one time in man, where if Michigan misses the tackle, I can't remember if it was San Marcelo or not,
It was Will
he's
Johnson.
gone. He's
I thought it was
gone.
Will Johnson.
It may have been Will Johnson.
Well, there was a
It was,
couple of them.
McMillan.
Yeah,
McMillan.
it was McMillan.
Oh.
But
Yeah,
when
both times.
they
He got
weren't
away
ever,
one time.
they weren't ever able to get to the big play, right? And you feel like that's kind of what jumpstarts Washington into that rhythm. And it just felt like with Michigan playing too high the whole night and daring Washington to run the ball, they never got into their flow. It's almost like listening to a freestyle rapper rap on a beat he's not comfortable with. You may have a couple good bars in there, but most of the time it's going to look disjointed. And let's be honest, you mix that with the pressure that Michigan was able to get, with the amount of looks they mixed up pre-snap that not only confused Penix pre-snap, not post-snap, but it really kind of threw the offensive line off. It felt like Washington could never get in a rhythm because they were having to dribble and go left the whole game.
Yeah.
And I think that's a credit to the scheme, but I also think that's a credit to the fundamentals of Michigan being able to tackle, and then Michigan just being superior athletically up front to what Washington was.
Well, I think everything when it comes to Washington felt contested.
Yeah.
Right? And you kind of go back.
Hard. It felt hard.
Yeah, you kind of go like to a little bit of a basketball reference here. Like every shot Washington took, Michigan had a hand in their face.
Yeah.
Right? That's what it felt like. And it felt like a three never went in for them. So now you're just trying to find the right shot, and it felt like they never actually hit that shot. Michigan made Washington run their offense.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they did. They're not going to give it to you. They're not going to leave you wide open in the corner for three. Run your offense. If you can do that the entire game and beat us, kudos.
And Penix played perfect last week, guys. We have to remember that. It's so hard to play perfect twice in a week when you're going up against a defense that hasn't allowed over 24 points all season in 15 games. The first team to do that in 120 years. So that means something. And with Jesse Minter's umbrella coverage, we wondered if he'd keep everything in front. He did. That made Penix take 50 throws.
11 play drive.
Screens, middle screens, tunnels, kickouts, now screens.
If you want to go fast, like some guys they love going fast in the race car. Other guys are fine with driving the speed limit. Washington does not want to drive the speed limit on offense. They want to hit big plays. They want to be explosive. They want to be high flying, and they made them be methodical last night, and it felt like it threw them off. That's just how it felt.
Appreciate it, Mason.
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, Mason, we appreciate you listening, buddy. Go get that pump in.
Yeah, let's go. What are we hitting today, Mason?
Yeah, what are you working today?
225.
Buys and tries or what?
he's
no,
gone.
Mason.
He's gone.
I don't know what
Mason,
your
that's
workout
all right.
routine
He's
is.
saying it right now. He's saying it to himself.
It feels like a back day.
Back day?
Well, back day.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's go to Chris in Michigan. Chris, it was a game on yesterday.
David, congrats, man.
Man,
Thank
y'all just
you.
start making out.
Blue.
Go blue to you, brother. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so, I mean, it was a great game in the beginning, scary game in the middle, and then great again at the end. So
Yeah, it's pretty much just like an Oreo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great way to
Oreos are
put it.
scary in the middle.
So,
You okay?
Look.
Yeah, what's that stuff made of?
Yeah, but man, being in the dark times, being a fan of Michigan during the dark times, my dad grandfathered me into this fandom, and just making it all the way here, it just feels so good, man. It feels really good.
The hard times being so hard is what makes the sweet times so damn
No
sweet.
doubt. No doubt.
And and I saw someone say it too, leading all the way up to this, all the, the trouble with the snap, JT was short, all that stuff. I'd do it over again for this national championship.
Yep.
Without a doubt. You got to kiss a few frogs.
And help Jim Harbaugh pack if he decides to go to the NFL. Look, if the guy who just delivered this championship in his heart wants to return and coach somewhere else in the NFL, then all we can do is say, hey, we'll help you move, man.
Or you could just be like, no.
I agree. He delivered.
The only negative is I hate it for J.J. McCarthy because the only thing preventing him from being the greatest Michigan quarterback ever was his head coach. It's one thing to win one as a quarterback. It's another thing to have that success as a quarterback and then win it as the head coach.
The ultimate Michigan man.
The program's quarterback.
Yeah, look, hey, at this point, we won't split hairs.
Hey, I know. What a great problem.
Plenty to high five around.
I'm crying for you guys. Hey, how bad do you want to point and laugh at Hunter Dickinson right now? Because part of me feels like even though it's basketball, you hate him.
I don't hate him, and I think he's about to get a ring, too. Kansas looks that good.
We'll see.
Yeah,
Chris.
Go blue, David, all right?
Go blue,
congrats,
man.
Chris.
Thanks
Congrats,
for calling,
buddy.
man. All right, everybody else on the line, if you're there, call in tomorrow, please. Charlie, Steve, Trey, anyone on the line, call in tomorrow.
Trey wants to talk that ish. He's still pissed about Bama losing. The amount of Bama fans I saw last night on social media, they were like, we had him! And we let him off the hook!
I saw more Georgia fans.
I saw Georgia fans on Twitter claiming the national championship.
I was like, y'all lost. You just won 2 in a row. Calm down.
Y'all lost.
And now Kirby's pissed off for greatness again?
Everybody else.
See, you got to keep Georgia fans in check or they're going to start walking around like Conor McGregor.
Every other program down the stretch of the season knew they couldn't afford to lose a game. When Michigan played the Buckeyes, they knew they couldn't lose. When Alabama played in the SEC championship, they knew
Florida
they couldn't
State.
lose. Washington knew if they lost to Oregon,
When Auburn played New Mexico State, knew they couldn't lose.
Too.
Oh, yeah, we forgot. What happened? What are you talking about? That never happened. All right, tonight, it's college basketball, baby. Betting college basketball. Let's get it. We've been hot. I want to stay hot. Nobody's talking about it, but everybody's excited about it. Tonight, Baylor at home against BYU. All right, I know the BYU's, they average like 30 years old, but that's fine. Baylor's like 9 foot tall. Give me Baylor -2.5 at -110. Then LSU at home against Vandy. two of probably the worst teams in the SEC. Hate to say it, but I got to keep it real with you guys. Give me the Bengal Tigers -8.5. That's at -110. David, what do you got?
All right. Houston -3.5 tonight. They're going off at -110, and they're taking on Iowa State. That game is on the road. And then give me the Auburn Tigers -7.5, coming off that big win at Bud Walton Arena.
Got to show up again.
-7.5, -110. Come on, Bruce.
Come on, Blaine.
Figure it out.
Get it.
A boy's dream.
That Dave Matthews son. That Dave Matthews son.
All right, I'm going the opposite way, hedging my emotions here. It's a win-win situation. A&M +7.5. All right, if they don't cover, beautiful. Let's keep moving up in the rankings if you're an Auburn Tiger. They give me Central Michigan at home +5.5, -1.
Pimpleton's not playing, is he?
I hope he is.
That was the worst beat ever for Blade in that football game. He was like, I got that. What was it? You had the under. It was Central Michigan.
The under. I had whoever they were playing.
There was like Central Michigan bowling.
I had the under and the other team winning the first half.
Yeah.
Pimpleton already took one back. A punt. And Bowling Green kicked.
There's like 5 seconds to go.
Just kick it out of bounds.
I had the over.
Yeah. Ha 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 ha. Kick it out of bounds. Pimpleton, right before I die, I just think I'm going to be on the hospital bed.
You're making it to a hospital bed?
Right before I'm going to look at the doctor and be like, why did they punt it?
Yeah.
Why did they put it?
All right. Ace is going to take Purdue and Zach Edey. Just don't eat me. -7.5 at -110. Then Kentucky. All right. -12.5 at home. Who are they playing? God, I can't remember. It's an SEC game, obviously. I know Bama's got South Carolina at home. I almost took Bama -12.5. God, who does Kentucky have?
Kentucky plays.
They just played Florida. They just beat them. Is it
Missouri?
Missouri.
Yep.
Missouri. All right.
Donos.
Let's
go to Justin Alfereri. $5 donation. Does this Michigan team remind you of the 2018 Villanova team with well-experienced players and very well coached throughout the entire season?
I could see a parallel there. Up until the last couple drives, I forgot who it was in the chat that made this point, that game was going exactly like the 2010 national championship game between Auburn and Oregon, and that was so spot on with the way that game was going until the last two possessions.
I was going to Blaine's bucket step with a $5 donation. Trust me, I still got it in me. So Washington's award-winning O-line playing poorly mixed with Penix missing throws and drop passes. The worst scenario possible for the Huskies, but congratulations, David.
100% correct. 100% correct.
Let's go to Kobe Ferguson with a $5 donation. Kobe, a lot of generational talents heading off to the NFL this spring. What quarterbacks are you most excited to see next season?
Obviously you look at Dylan Gabriel going to Oregon. I'm interested to see how Oregon looks. I mean, with the craziness of the transfer portal, I'm interested in Kyle McCord in Syracuse. I want to see how Fran Brown does out there. You look at some of the recruits that they've brought in, but I mean, you go down the list of guys that are returning that we know that are returning. What will J.J. McCarthy do? Nico Lamalaleva. I know I said that wrong from Tennessee. I'm expecting big things from him. But Brady Cook coming back, Jackson Dart coming back, Carson Beck coming back, Jalen Milroe coming back. This huge anomaly we had of a bunch of quarterbacks having to be replaced at top-level places, right? This past year, we're going to get the opposite of that going into next year, which I can't wait to see. It should make for some cleaner balls.
I mean, in the Dark Knight's coming back as well.
Cam Rising.
That's a good one.
12.
I'll give you another one out
Quinn
there.
Ewers.
Noah Fafita.
Yeah.
Noah Fafita. So
how about boy from UNLV going to Georgia? Did you see that?
I saw
the
that,
quarterback?
yeah.
Jaden Mavia?
Yeah,
Mavea?
Like that,
that one shocked me.
It's not like they need another one. Let's go to Nick Bates with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, Nicky. Says, bring MLB to Utah, and Andrew Jones belongs in the Hall of Fame.
The first one by Utah, I know you mean Nashville, and yes, Andrew Jones belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Big facts.
Let's go to Charles Dossett with a $10 donation. Appreciate it, Charles.
There he is.
Says, your commentary last night was great. Michigan offense had me concerned through the second and third. Can't imagine being the mountain man last night. #go blue.
The mountain.
Without a doubt, I got to give some flowers to Washington's defense, too, though.
Yeah.
Keeping them in the game, that front seven. That shocked me.
Defense wins championships, baby. Let's go to Lincoln Mertz with the $5. Graham's
brother?
Yeah, $5 donation. Cone. See if I read this right. Michigan acted like more of a victim than Jesse Smollett. Congrats. Was the UGA Bama a fluke game? UGA would have won, but the CFP was making mistakes.
You know what? You got a lot to fix in that statement.
Well, playing that hypothetical game, yeah, you could sit here and say that Georgia, if they played Michigan on a neutral field, may win 5, may win 6 out, but that's not what happened, right? Georgia-Bama was a playoff game. David's exactly right. That was a playoff game. Now, if we had the 12-team playoff, it'd be a moot point. It'd be a moot point. That's what I hope we get going forward. But Georgia lost a playoff game to Alabama that then lost a playoff game to Michigan, who then beat Washington to win the national championship. The game was won on the field.
I've been a little surprised by Georgia fans over the past 24 hours. I mean, I get it. You're back-to-back champs. You wanted to get that third one that would break a record, but, take it out on Alabama. Take it out on Nick Saban. The guy's undefeated in Atlanta. You got your matchup with him. He beat you. Stop trying to take it out on Michigan
this kind of point that got brought up the other day. You don't see many Ohio State fans out here.
I haven't seen one. And they lost, and their only loss was on the road this year. Was truly on the road against the number one.
And they should hate y'all more than anyone.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the poll. That's all the donations for today. Really appreciate it, Chad. Great job. All right, is this Michigan's best team ever?
Yes, 65%.
Yeah, 80%, man. What an unbelievable job this year.
It's harder to win a national championship right now than it's ever been.
Fact.
Yes, 55%. No, 45%.
Definitely. Well, great job today, guys. Got a great show for you tomorrow. Thank you, Tim Brando. Going to be talking. We got NFL playoffs. They're here. You go from one to the other. Not that we're not going to stop talking college football. We obviously want to talk everything that's going on. College basketball. We got NHL streaming toward the playoffs. John Morant out for the rest of the year. We updated this last night. Unfortunate for the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to monitor that. Kevin Steele retiring at the ripe old age of 173. I think T-Rob's going to be the DC at Bama. That's what I think it's going to be.
Really?
Travarius Robinson, former Auburn player. Weird to see that. But we appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Go grab some merch. Try our beautiful sponsors, Raycon and also Nugenix. It's fantastic products. We appreciate you guys. And like the college football season, we're going. Oh!
Goodness.
God, that was bad. That was a bad one.
Yeah.
I was like...